All we've heard from our president in recent weeks has been climate change.
If the American people see the President of the United States standing on top of a melting glacier and telling them the world is in trouble, will they care?
Behind me is one of the most visited glaciers.
Terrorism and gun control.
Mass shootings, common sense gun safety laws, stronger background checks, terrorism.
And at one point he even said talking about climate change is his way of fighting the terrorists.
And next week, I will be joining President Hollande and world leaders in Paris for the Global Climate Conference. What a powerful rebuke to the terrorists it will be.
He talked about how he was going to the Paris climate change talks. He talked at the Paris climate change talks.
The growing threat of climate change could define the contours of this century more dramatically than any other.
He talked about the Paris climate change talks before he left the Paris climate change talks.
Once again, I want to thank the people of France and President Hollande for their extraordinary hospitality.
Then he addressed the nation about the Paris climate change talks when he came back.
In my first inaugural address, I committed this country to the tireless task of combating climate change.
It was all over the news. It was all they were talking about. It was the top story for the whole time period that was going on. It was very heavily pushed. That was the agenda. So we've heard all about it. We've been fully apprised of the situation. Here's what you've probably not heard about at all. There is currently, right now, and has been for 2 months now, an unstoppable gas leak in California that is not only being called the worst catastrophe since the BP oil spill, it's also being called the worst gas leak in California state history. Methane is coming out of the ground with the force of a volcanic eruption. 150 million pounds of methane has been released in the atmosphere in less than 2 months. It's leaking at 110,000 pounds an hour. It's unstoppable. They don't know how to fix it. They just keep saying they don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to stop it. And Zero Hedge has pointed out that methane is 72 times more impactful than the carbon dioxide that Obama's always talking about. Traps a lot more heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide ever wishes it could. This is a much more powerful greenhouse gas if we're going to get down to brass tacks. And this has been going on this whole time. And where is that in the top news? Where's that in the top story? I haven't seen hardly anything about this at all. In fact, what was last week's top story? Hillary Clinton's bathroom break at the debate, or the fact that Trump said she was schlonged by Obama? Like, that's our top news. They're not talking about this. All Obama talked about was climate change. Do you know what this gas leak is? This gas leak is the equivalent of what 6 coal-fired power plants would put out in a 20-year time frame. The coal-fired power plants that Obama said he wants to regulate out of existence, what 6 of those would put out into the environment in 20 years, in less than 2 months. 20 miles south of Los Angeles, have you heard about it? Has Obama said anything about it? So, massive natural gas leak at a storage facility in Aliso Canyon. First of all, I hadn't even heard about it till I read about it on Zero Hedge. Why am I reading about that on Zero Hedge, which is usually about economic stuff? Why am I not seeing that as a top news story on any other major site anywhere? They've had to evacuate all the neighborhoods around this. They don't know what to do to fix it. They don't know what caused it. They're saying it could be weeks or months. They don't really know how to plug this leak or stop it. So eventually this will surpass the BP oil spill if they can't get it under control. And it's one of the biggest leaks that's ever been reported of natural gas in the history of time. It's just, Obama is over there talking his butt off about climate change. Meanwhile, this is happening right here, right now. They can't even tell you what the environmental impact of this is going to be. And Obama has said what? Nothing. All that stuff about the climate change talks in Paris, and if you didn't already know that it's complete and utter bullshit, you do now.